Today I'm talking to Carlos Matz, the creator of the first AI-powered fashion show in Latin America. He's an entrepreneur and an artist whose companies are pioneering the use of artificial intelligence in creative fields. Carlos recently accomplished something groundbreaking. He leveraged AI tools to rapidly generate dozens of fashion designs, animate photorealistic models, and put them on the runway. We discuss how he achieved that, the tools he used, and why he used AI. We also dive into the big picture questions Carlos is exploring around intelligence, the implications of AGI, and how AI will transform work and society. Hey Carlos, pleased to meet you. So we were in a group together and we came across the project that you were talking about. So you recently worked on launching a fashion show, which was the first one in Latin America to use artificial intelligence.
That's right. We created the first fashion collection designed with the power of artificial intelligence.
Cool. So, I mean, I'd love to hear like a little bit more about that, but maybe we could start by telling us a little bit about your background and your interests, if you want to just kind of introduce yourself.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me, Luke. My name is Carlos Matz. I am an entrepreneur, designer, and artist for the past 19 years. I have founded 2 companies. My first one is called Schematic, which is an arts and technology studio. And from that, my new obsession arose, which is called ICA, Inteligencia Kinética Artificial, which is my new artificial intelligence company that I started around 5-6-ish years ago. And did you see the movie Iron Man?
Which movie, sorry?
Iron Man.
Iron Man, yeah.
Do you remember Jarvis?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the artificial intelligence that Tony Stark uses for work. You know, the project management tool that he talks to and responds back, and it's 3-dimensional and holographic and everything.
Yeah.
Well, we did that, but for real, basically, for project management. So that's ICA. That's my new company.
Cool. I wasn't sure if you was going to be able to tell us about that because on your LinkedIn it says it's still in stealth mode.
It is in stealth mode. I'm going to do a little demo for you and on this call right now, though. However, we're going to have to wait to show that part for when we launch the beta, which is in about 5 weeks.
Okay, cool. So getting close. You've been actually working on it for a long time in the background then.
Very much, yeah. Yeah, we've been, hustling away. And basically, it's a lot of R&D because when we started back then, we didn't have LLMs like we have now, And, augmented reality tech and AI tech hadn't, advanced as much as it has right now. But the good thing is that we saw it coming. We kind of had a feel through our experience of where the market was going to move, and we anticipated it, and now we're close to launch.
Awesome. Yeah, because I mean, in realm of design, this has become it's exploded in the last year or so with the advent of kind of like ChatGPT becoming popular, but then Midjourney and everything else that's come up with that. But it's interesting to hear you've been in it for the long game for since the long time. Yeah,
absolutely. Like when the very first rough demos and the video for what we were trying to do back then sounded so outlandish. It sounded so. It basically was our moonshot, and now I'm happy that the world moved in this direction, and our moonshot is it's the obvious next step.
Yeah. So is that related to the kind of fashion show that you did? Because I know that's called Luna AI. Are these connected? Is ICA and the show one and the same? Or tell us a little bit about how this project came about.
So Colección Lunaria, it was a project that was completely managed by ICA, right? So we used our productivity platform to just create the entire project and to track it and to be focused on it, and with it not only the project management of the project with ICA, but we also used other tools to make the entire experience, the entire event, the very first event that uses artificial intelligence as a central core for the experience. For example, we created all the designs, all the models, all the animations, all the music, even the press release and the management of the project was created with artificial intelligence. So the way that we came up with the idea is basically the business club, Club 51 here in Mexico City, they invited me to be a member in their business club, and they wanted me to bring artificial intelligence into their operations. So, yeah, we came up with several ideas of what to do, and then one of the ones that had not been ever been done before is exactly this: is to create an artificial intelligence powered fashion show and fashion collection. So the good thing is that we had our friends at RCANO, which they are headquartered as well in Club 51, just like ICA. So it was obvious to bring this idea to them and present it to them. And we asked them, like, would they want to be involved? I created some, rough designs, like preliminary designs of what it could be. And they really liked the idea. So we started working on it since, I would say, March. March or April, the initial ideas came to light, and then we said, yeah, let's do it. We started designing everything, and then it was a very organic process because RCANO has its own style, right? So we had to see ways of fulfilling our vision in a way that it was practical as well, because they would have to create those designs from scratch, and they have like very intricate ways of cutting and sewing, and the greatest challenge was for them actually to bring to life the ideas that we have created with Midjourney. So it was a very fun project, but I think the hardest part was on them.
So tell us a little bit about the tools that you use. So you were using Midjourney. I think you created animations for this as well, correct?
Correct, yeah. So the tools that we used to manage the entire project is ICA, of course. And to create the images, we used Midjourney V4. And to animate the images, we used Runway ML. And for the music, we used Loudly. Oh, and to edit the images that we created with Midjourney, we used Photoshop AI as well. Right now, it's already incorporated in the main Photoshop application, but back then they had a Photoshop beta where they were testing out the generative, tools. So we used all that. So those 5 tools, that's all that we use, and ChatGPT, of course.
Yeah. And did you try and automate these things, or is it still kind of a human using these tools, or have you connected them in a way through your technology that kind of creates a workflow? Like, how did that work?
So that's a nice question. So that's the ultimate goal of ICA, basically, to merge physical biological teams with artificial intelligence teams in a way to automate your work and in a seamless way. So that's what we started experimenting. Like ICA version 1, you're gonna be able to manage your team, but then the later versions of ICA is gonna be more and more automated in a way that it's actually going to help you do your tasks with you or for you altogether. So back when we started the project, most of the things were manual, but moving forward, more and more stuff started automating. So yeah, that's where we're going towards. Correct.
What inspired you to use AI? Obviously, it's part of your company, but did you see like there's an opportunity to was it work quicker, or was it to add new level of creativity, or is it just the merging of a new technology that interested you? Why AI, basically?
Yeah, so it's all of those things. Basically, I'm an artificial intelligence and technological communicator. I communicate technology to people. I give conferences around the world about everything that's going on in AI and in metaverse and in entrepreneurship. So it is my world. It is my world. So creating this AI fashion show was a way for me to continue that task, to communicate, what is possible now. And the way it helped is that basically we created dozens and dozens of designs in record time, and very high fidelity designs, the type of designs that usually are not used in fashion to that degree of fidelity. Normally in fashion, they do sketches and everything, but they rarely go to a level of creating an actual 3D model, with photorealistic avatars and photorealistic, clothes and fabrics to, to illustrate the idea prior to creating it. That's not usually what fashion designers do. They create like a rough sketch by hand and everything, and then the rest they figure it out in their head. And the amount of designs they do is reduced as well. So what we did is basically we created a large amount of ultra high quality photorealistic designs in record time, and then it accelerated the process greatly and in an exponential way. Basically, we got higher quality and larger amounts of diverse designs, and then we selected the ones that were more attracted to us, and then those ones we went in, and in each individual section of it we went, like for example the shoulders, the sleeves and everything. We went to each one of those parts and modified it individually with Photoshop Beta. Like for example, if we didn't like a specific color, we selected the color and we created new versions of that color, of a new tie, of some sleeveless, some had sleeves. So we not only created all the diverse designs, but we went into each specific one and modified parts of the designs individually. So it was all made super fast in a record time and in a more collaborative, and it was like a positive inspiration feedback loop with these new tools. So it was super fun.
Yeah. And how did the design team feel about that? And I asked that because obviously, like, there's some fear in the design community from some people that AI will replace us, and people do have concerns about that. Was there any feelings of that from the team you were working with?
No, at RCANO, they completely understood that these are tools that are here to enhance our productivity and creativity and not take away any part of it. So they embraced the process with open arms, and they were very happy and impressed that we could do so many designs in such little time, and to actually go in individually and modify every single part of it. That's something that they were not expecting. They were delighted. Rafa and Tamara RCANO, the founders of RCANO, they were they were really happy to actually be part of this project that's actually a pioneer project in Latin America. So still the physical part, there's no AI involved in that still. Eventually we're going to have AI to actually get the designs that we selected, that we created, and create the patterns to actually cut the patterns and sew the patterns. Eventually we're going to get to that, but right now we use artificial intelligence for the design part of it.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Thanks, man. It was very nice.
And like, how was it received?
People really liked the entire experience. Like we created a whole show around it. We created, it was a mix of not only physical models, but virtual models. And they were all first the virtual models, then the physical ones, and then both at the same time. And along with the very high energy music that we created, it was a very high energy fashion show. Normally fashion shows are like, more mellow and, more like cool and suave. We went hard on this one. It was like a party. It was actually like, it felt like a rave, So people were really, excited and happy, and along with Club 51's amenities and, the cocktail and the people around it create a great atmosphere. And people were impressed by the designs. There was the specific one design that it was my favorite was the one that had no sleeves and with an open chest and everything. I thought it was just so cool. And everybody seemed to gravitate toward that specific one because we created 3 physical ones out of the, I don't know how many dozens of designs were created. We selected 17, and from those 17, we select 3 to produce. And from those 3, there was one specific one that I really loved, and people seemed to gravitate toward that one as well.
Amazing. And so you touched on it briefly. So were you taking these images, the images of the design that you created in Midjourney, and then animating them through Runway?
Yeah, Runway ML.
Cool. And was it all kind of like, were you going for a level of realism there, or was it more kind of abstract?
So it's all based on realism. So there's two different animations that we made. We animated the models that we created in Midjourney, and that we were going for realism there. But then the rest of the animations of the the branding of the event, which are way more abstract. So we have some, since the theme is kind of this space age, attire. We had some space age imagery that was moving around before the event and during the event and then after the event, where we see like stars exploding and planets forming and some a little nebula and a galaxy colliding, and it was all this that we would have taken so much time to create in 3D and then to render and animate with tools like Cinema 4D or 3D Studio Max, and then just export it. It would have taken so many resources and time. We created these abstract animations with runway ML in seconds. So it was a combination of photorealistic, model avatars with the clothes, and then abstract space, animations that complemented the entire branding of the show.
Cool. So is there any questions that you wish that I would ask you?
Yeah, let's talk about the next evolution of our artificial intelligence.
Where do you think we're going to go with AGI then?
So AGI, artificial general intelligence, is the next evolution of artificial intelligence right now. We now believe that artificial general intelligence, which means the moment in human history where neural networks reach the capacity of cognitively perform any cognitive task that any human can perform, which means human level AI. We thought that we reached that point by 2050, 2060, but now, given the advancements that we have seen in the last 18 months, we now tend to believe that we will going to reach AGI in this decade or at the beginning of next decade, probably in this decade. So artificial intelligence is the most impactful technology that humans have ever created, and we are only getting started right now. Like we're only getting started. Like, think about it. We have all these magical tools, and this is the start of the start. Like, we are still using humans to code the lines to create artificial intelligence, but then eventually artificial intelligence is going to be used to create the codes of artificial intelligence. It's going to be recursively improving, and we haven't even gotten to that place yet. All the magical tools that you see were created by humans, but then eventually AI is going to create AI, and that's where everything's just going to accelerate towards artificial general intelligence. So we are in possibly the most important decade of humanity's history, definitely the most important century, and I'm just so happy to be alive to see it, and not only see it, but be part of it.
Yeah. So you think it's a lot closer than, well, it's a lot closer.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the emergent properties that we are getting from these large language models are just mind-blowing. Now ChatGPT version 4 has vision, but actually it had vision even before, because it understood how things looked, even just, from language alone, So even before they activated vision, it had already developed its own sense of vision without ever seeing anything, just from descriptions of text alone. So we're getting these emergent properties that we did not anticipate, and eventually we're going to get more and more emergent properties, and it's going to get to a point where you're going to start asking philosophical questions like, what is really intelligence? Is it really a property of matter, or is a property of, only living things, or not? Like, what is consciousness? Are we going to be able to explain consciousness given through a lens of information processing? Like, we're going to get into a very, philosophical, area very, very soon.
It gets deep very quick. I was surprised by how much you can achieve with the level of intelligence that they have now. Like, people stringing and connecting like bots. So one bot's to work, another
exactly
evaluates it, and how far you can get with, like, it is artificial intelligence. It's not that intelligent yet, but it is achieving things that we define as intelligence?
Absolutely. What we have right now is artificial narrow intelligence, which AI is really good at one thing, and now it's starting to merge. First it was only good at image recognition, then it's just speech recognition. It's all pattern recognition at the end of the day, right? Like it's doing biomimicry, the way our human brain or all brains of living things, just detect patterns. Brains are the most capable and impressive pattern recognition machine ever devised. And with what we have done with artificial intelligence, that we have created the most exponential pattern recognition machine ever. So eventually those patterns are going to start to connect, and eventually we're going to get to human level AI. And the nature of work is going to fundamentally change, and the entire society is going to be transformed. And the question right now is not whether or not we're going to get to it, like we will get to it, but is it going to be a slow takeoff or is it going to be a fast takeoff? We don't know that yet.
I want to be respectful of your time. So, I mean, thanks. It's been a great conversation, and there's some huge topics I'm sure we could talk about for much longer. But unfortunately, we don't have time.
Yeah, man. My pleasure. Thanks for reaching out. I love to talk about, the future that already is.
If you like this video, you'd love our AI and design newsletter. Sign up at designresources.ai.